start by saying thank you for making time for us on the agenda tonight. I want to personally the opportunity just to come say hello and introduce myself and leave the door open for any issues or concerns or ideas for dialogue that you ever want. I'm always here. Sandy Hook is a real priority for not just the park but for me personally. I'm a New Jersey native, and Sandy Hook is somewhere near and dear to my heart. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you, especially as we move ahead with this.
We're going to move at the table as well.
Okay.
And
it's going to go through the
brief idea of what everybody thinks.
Yeah, of this review, but just basically, as you know, we've got some really historic properties out at Fort Hancock, real historic right there, that we've been working to find a solution for really restoring those and doing the historic preservation that we all want to see. And so we have on the street now this request for expressions of interest, which is really a great opportunity to find out what kind of ideas may be out there for whatever kind of use people want to propose. And like I said, I'll let Pete walk through the details of that with you. But I just asked that everybody here, it's going to take all of us to make this work. And so help us spread the word. This was something that we developed with all of the community. And so we're really looking to, once again, to help get the word out and drum up the interest so we can take care of these buildings.
Are you based in Sandy Hook, or are you splitting the time between Gateway and Sandy Hook?
I'm moving around all the time. It's my office is in Staten Island, but I'll be coming out here a lot.
All right, good evening, folks. My name is Pete McCarthy. I'm the unit coordinator at Sandy Hook. I've been at Sandy Hook for about 4 years now. As we all know, the Officers Row or the Fort Hancock buildings have a long history. Not only is their contribution as part of the National Historic Site, but in the 90s and going into the first decade of this century, there was a leasing opportunity which didn't work out, and we ended up with the buildings back with the National Park Service. About a year and a half ago, the then superintendent and the management team in the park decided that they wanted to try to go back out and see if we could gather some interest, see if we could find some folks that would be willing to help us get this thing going again. And one of the things that we decided to do is, looking at past mistakes, we decided to go out to the communities and go out to the local municipalities, and we asked folks to participate. We've been lucky enough that Mayor Nolan and Borough Administrator Hill have joined what we call the Federal Advisory Committee. It's called the Fort Hancock 21st Advisory Committee. And they've been working with us for almost a year now, about 10 months, in creating a vision of what we're going to try to do with these buildings. And what I want to do is take a few minutes here tonight, not too much time, just to talk about what our RFEI is. It's a proposal, or it's a document that we're asking folks to come in with proposals. There is no set agenda on what we want to do, how we want to lease it. What we're looking for is interest from folks who might want to come out to Sandy Hook and try to take an opportunity in trying to help us save these buildings. As we all know, the storm last year presented some problems for everybody. Sandy Hook took a beating, just as the Highlands did, and I can't even go even close to what you guys experienced. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to look at the best way to get these buildings reused, and we're looking at the same options that everybody else is. Resiliency in regards to lifting utilities and figuring out how to lift some of the systems within these quarters in order to get them going. So without holding up too much, we'll talk a little bit about this. All right. The Fort Hancock Advisory Committee is made up of 20 folks, surrounding communities, Highlands, Middletown, Seabright, Rumson. Then we asked folks from Monmouth County. We have a member of the Monmouth County Board of Freeholders on the board. And then we We have folks in different disciplines, ranging anywhere from a lieutenant colonel of the United States Army to folks who are doing real estate. What we ask these folks to do is come out and figure out the best way to put together an offering so people can see what we need to do. A little bit of background about Gateway. Gateway in total gets about 8 million visitors a year. Sandy Hook itself gets about 2.3 million. I'm sure you guys see that every Saturday and Sunday on 36 during the summer, and we really appreciate the surrounding community's support on that. We're seeking proposals from individuals, governments, quasi-government agencies, non-profits, profits, for the reuse of 36 historic buildings inside of Fort Hancock. And that ranges anywhere from the buildings that are on Officers Row, the brick buildings that were used by the captains and the lieutenants and the commanding officer, to the barracks which the soldiers who were housed at Fort Hancock were using. It's a great opportunity. I think we'll all agree that Sandy Hook is probably one of the most gorgeous sites in New Jersey by itself, particularly on the northern tip of the Jersey Shore. What we're looking for is, this is not a formal RFI. It's not a formal, it's not a formal document where you're putting a proposal in and we're going to award something. What we're looking for is to get interest from people who have ideas of what we should do with these buildings in the future. And we have certain criteria that we've asked people to try to think about. History of Sandy Hook. I think we all are pretty much in sync. Everybody kind of knows about what Sandy Hook was, going from being the proving grounds for the United States Army in the 1870s up till about 1900, and then Fort Hancock, where it was set up for harbor defense. And if we go back to the light and we go back to the Civil War fort, Sandy Hook has really had an important piece of military history for the United States. Partnership. We're looking for partners. We're looking for people to help us. This is a key thing. The National Park Service can't do this alone, and we're really looking for people to help us. How to respond? I brought with me essentially the sheets which tell folks how to respond and what the criteria is in order to put an offer in or to send us an idea. And there are 8 of them on there, which we kind of look at as more or less a point of a point to kind of weed out things so people understand what we're trying to do. All right, response guidelines. Key things here to think about. Number 1, we're not looking for anything that would disturb what's going on there now. We're not looking to add anything. When we look at these proposals, if it was a small addition onto a building for utility use or for ADA access or things like that, that's kind of what we're looking for if somebody needed to change the building. We're looking for the note to stay within the spirit of what those buildings were built for, at least on the exterior, and then on the interior you kind of work through. As you can see, the 3rd paragraph down, no new buildings. We don't want to add anything on. One of the things that the National Park Service at large is having a problem with is backlog maintenance. It's in the billions of dollars. And Sandy Hook is only one part of that, and Gateway National Recreation Area has an extensive backlog. Sandy Hook itself has 190 buildings, which we're responsible for, and what we're looking for is a little help on 35. ADA compliance, we talked about that. How the building should be done. We're asking people to try to follow along the Secretary of Interior standards for historic buildings. So we're looking for people to restore and try to keep within the spirit, try to keep those defining features that make those buildings unique. And then we talked about ADA a little bit, and we're asking folks to look at access. You know, one of the things we don't want to do is introduce any more traffic into the area than as little as possible. One of the things that we're trying to do is get a little more utilization from our ferry dock, which the Park Service now owns, C Street uses, and about 2 years ago, New York Waterways did. Publication of responses. As part of this Federal Advisory Committee, if you do submit something, we are held responsible by law to put it out so people know what things are. One of the great things about this committee is everything's out front. We want to make sure that everybody knows what we're doing and when we're doing it. We thought that was a very important part. That's why we went this route, this Federal Advisory Committee. We're running site visits. We have another site visit next Thursday at 10 o'clock. If you know anybody who's interested, we'll meet at the chapel and take folks through so they can get a look at the buildings and see what they're up against and give you a little bit of an example of the good and the bad. What folks were able to do with some of the buildings like Steve Grant Consortium or the American Literal Society. Site visit. You can see there on the map, those are the buildings that we've been discussing. They range anywhere from barracks to the officers' quarters to the bakery. And then we go down and we look at several other buildings like mess halls. You know, we're looking for help, like I said, and we're looking at anything that is feasible for folks. Again, we have that criteria that we go through. Compatibility with the applicant's proposal needs to be within the registered landmark designations. How many buildings? If you give us a proposal for one building, you give us a proposal for 35, we'll look at them equally. You know, one of the things that we are looking at, though, is if individuals do come, if they come on an individual basis, we'll look at that. And the range goes, the range can go anywhere of what the reuse is. Questions, comments, folks? Be more than glad to answer. Ma'am?
Does this mean that lawsuit's completely out?
Yes, that happened. Sandy Hook Partners and the Park Service terminated that contract about 2 years ago. As a matter of fact, it was 2 years ago this month. I'm sorry, ma'am?
All lawsuits are finished?
To the best of my knowledge, yes. Anybody else?
I just got the question before we started, and others might be interested in the answer since it came up of, you know, what is this, you know, looking to restore these buildings for somebody to live in them? And it could be for someone to live in if they wanted to come and restore it for that. It could also be if a nonprofit wanted to set up their offices there. It could also be for a business that generates income. So we're really looking at all kinds of opportunities. And yes, we do want help and are looking for creative ways to restore these buildings, but it's in exchange for a really great opportunity. You'll get a long-term lease up to 60 years of having the right to be in that building. So there is a real. What? I think it depends on the kind of entity that came in, right, Pete? If it's a nonprofit, it doesn't have to go out to public bidding. If it's a more business type lease option, then we have to look at it.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Pete knows that I've been out there quite a lot and I've been involved and I would very much like to see this developed. And I am going to send something in, and since you're based on Staten Island, you're probably very familiar with Snug Harbor Cultural Center. And I had put in a proposal saying that people should go and look at that, and that's exactly how it started in the 70s, that it was falling apart and there was no money, and we put out an RFP, and now there's 31 different groups. They came in, they restored it on their own dime, whether they did it themselves, raised the money, it didn't matter. There were not-for-profits, now there's museums, there's schools. It's a wonderful project, and it worked. And I really commend you for having come to this now, because those buildings should be saved, and so much can be done for the public, and it's just going to be wonderful. So much good luck. What a great new plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, we really appreciate everybody's time and patience here. We are going to leave the booklet and a tear sheet and a shortcut of how you can go about this here with you guys. If you'd like to grab one, please feel free. If you need more information, you can contact me through the park over at Sandy Hook. I'll be more than glad to answer any questions that you have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, just let's leave them on the chair here.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Get one for me, please.
Can I get that too?
I stay under my contract.
Hi.
Folks, thank you. For your hard work. All right, get back on the, Dale.
What's that? I'm sorry. Yes, please. I'd like to add payment certification number 1 to Esposito Construction for the reconstruction of Bayside Drive. It's payment number 1. It's not a final payment, but it pays for the bulk of the work that they've completed. That's in the amount of $79,332.54.
I'll be 239, Carol?
That's gonna be extra payment bill.
Okay.
Right. There's no change orders associated with this payment.
This one we sent us out today, correct?
Yep.
All right, I'll offer that.
Offered by Mary Ellen,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Leggett, Ms. Ryan.
Is this for the entire consent? Or
Yes.
Okay, I'm voting yes, except for item number 2, 13-231, which I must abstain from because my name is on that list for a refund.
The end payment bills.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Leggett,
Yes.
Mr. Tracy,
Yes.
Ms. King. Yes. Mayor Ellen.
Yes.
Motion carries. On to second reading of public hearing is ordinance 0-13-27, Borough of Allentown, County of Monmouth, an ordinance supplementing and amending section 10-3 Borough Code of the Borough of Allentown, regulating home elevation contracting to the borough.
Yeah, I want to give a brief synopsis of everything.
This
Or
was
update.
published on in the October 27th edition of the APP.
This is the. Hold up one sec.
Bruce will start.
This is the home elevation ordinance that mirrors the language in the bill to be introduced in the legislature by using the unified jacket system, et
We did this because we didn't want to fix it under the manual.
cetera. Right.
Okay, open the public hearing. Any questions on 13-27?
Here it is, I got it here.
Does that have to do with the height? And is that like, one of the problems that we have is that, from what I understand, that people can't get mortgages because that height hasn't been set.
It has nothing to do with the height, merely the manner in which the homes are elevated.
This is just a method and the machinery used to elevate the homes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, because I don't have to elevate, so I know nothing about this. Oh, sorry, Kim Skirk at 315 Shore Drive. Was the problem with one of the houses the fact that they weren't using a unified jacking machine? Or, like, I don't understand why that makes a difference, and if you could just explain in a couple sentences.
Apparently, from what my research was, why the legislature used that's the industry standard for doing it. We added a couple other things other than just parrot the language of the law. The bill that's going to be introduced, part of it requires a site visit with the construction official beforehand to make sure he's okay with everything.
No,
Really just add another layer to make sure everybody's.
On the same page. Okay.
And part of it about the next one.
So, in the instance of the second house that fell, where there were plans, they were sealed by an engineer, our town looked at them, said, oh, it's got the seal on it, it's fine. Would this have would somebody had stopped by and see the lolly columns and had done something about it sooner? Or would this not apply in that case, because they've already done the site
Right, this wouldn't apply.
inspection prior to lifting?
It's hard to say.
At that point, the house is up already, so this,
Well, at that point, and when you hit the nail on the head, with those plans were approved by the engineer. There was a professional engineer.
Right.
So at that point, your hands are kind of tied a little bit. But whether this will prevent it, I can't necessarily say that it would have, but it does at least add the borough's input to the construction official at the time this is going on. A little more so involved than
Okay. Go ahead.
On the final reading and adoption is ordinance 0-13-27 for our Mount County Common, and ordinance supplementing and amending section 10-3 of the Borough Code of the Borough of Mount, regulating home elevation not covered in the borough.
How long is it?
Offered by Mayor Long,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Redmond, Ms. Ryan.
Get some discussion. I don't know that we should be moving ahead with this because the state hasn't approved the unified, hasn't made the unified lifting system a requirement yet. They haven't asked that for. A. B. There are very few contractors who can utilize the unified lifting systems. There just may not be enough of them around. A good contractor can lift especially our size homes, a good contractor can live without the unified system, without them falling down. I'd ask that the recommendation to utilize the unified system, we see fit to do that. And I think this is going to be a burden on the people who have to live in these small houses. So I'm going to vote no, and I would recommend that we pause on this without having. I mean, there are 30 houses that have been lifted. I think maybe only 3 or 4 have used the unified system. I don't know that we need to rush into this unified requirement without knowing how many vendors are still able to do this work.
Can we, we're not gonna change the ordinance tonight. I would like to make sure part of it says about license insurance. I wanna,
Yes,
have
the
that.
other.
So then should we stop the whole thing and rewrite it in 2 weeks, or can we be part of the ordinance?
You're going to change
I mean, that's
changing,
right,
it's
that's
basically
what-
starting the process
Right.
over. So you could amend it.
Yeah, I don't wanna hold anybody up.
Well, we want to make sure that pre-construction meetings are happening. We want to make sure we're having enough presence now.
But
So,
we can do that just by saying we have to have a reconstruction, don't do the permits. We can do that internally as a control we put in place. We've had 2 houses fall, we have to have a meeting. We don't need this ordinance to have that.
so, yes, I'm thinking about it. I wanna have the meetings, I want everything to be good for the people, we need to protect, we need to have this. But I do understand, about holding people up. But, so I think perhaps it would be the best way to go ahead and pass it and then amend it in 2 weeks.
So let's say, how long are we going to hold anyone up?
Right,
And
okay.
more importantly, you're probably not going to eliminate having another issue in the next 2 years. That's just my opinion. Any other discussion about that? We did.
We had a motion and a second, and Mr. Francis was from the roll call with Nay.
I offered it.
Yes, and the second by Mr. Redmond.
Okay, Mr. Francis voted no.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
And also.
Yes.
Motion carries.
1329, Chair?
Yes, on for second reading public hearing is bond ordinance 0-13-29, bond ordinance providing for improvements to the community center in and by the borough of Hempstead in the county of Monmouth, New Jersey, appropriating $450,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $378,720 bonds or notes of the borough finance part of the cost thereof. This is published in the October 27th edition of the ABC and is now ready for public hearing.
1329, any questions on the bond order for community center?
Your great news.
Name and address.
Doug Park, 28 Shrewsbury Avenue. Your great news about just the doors and jets. When we hold off on doing this and receive the money from them, so we don't have to put ourselves in this debt.
We could, or we could pay it down when we get it.
Is there any indication of what kind of funds we're going to get from that?
Nope.
I asked about it at a previous meeting. Are we doing anything to ask for donated materials and volunteer efforts to help reduce the cost?
Well, we're getting a significant amount of money from the Robert Johnson Foundation, so yeah.
I'm asking about going to Home Depot and Lowe's and local
They're actually
building
involved with that
materials.
foundation.
and giving us the materials and putting the word out, asking for volunteers to come help and maybe put up the drywall and do the molding. And I'm pretty good with
That'd be
paintbrush.
fantastic.
I've had a lot of practice.
Can I, address this? Okay, yes, Kim, we, are planning to do this. We're working with a group called, excuse me, Tim, Building Together? Is that the one that's working with the? Rebuild Together is one of the groups. They're the group that, has been at the VFW this past week, and will be here again this weekend. They have a whole, list of different groups they pull in. They, have people from Comcast, they have people from, various organizations that come and do work days, and we're working with them. And if you're interested, I'm going to put you in contact with them, but they did it, they just did it. They got donated drywall from VFW. They are getting donated paint. to
I
do
would
these
love to do it,
projects.
and I think there's a lot of people in town who would
Yeah,
love
I
to do
agree,
it. So
I think
if
it's important.
I hate to beat this over the head, but if we could put it up on the website, maybe do a robocall or an email saying that this project's going to happen, this is when they're going to be there, and this is how you get to volunteer, I think we get a groundswell of support from the people in town.
And
I agree.
when we're ready to roll that out, definitely with the timeframes, we'll certainly make that known.
Yeah, I didn't know
We have
that.
a lot of architectural work and other things that
Right.
need to happen before then, and we're working on that daily, so we want to get this project up, running, and hopefully finished by the spring.
Sure. There's also, within our own town, there's a future group, oh, working out of the church that was next door to our former borough hall. And they have a, website, they sign up, you can sign up specifically for different projects. And, I'm meeting with Lou, the construction director there, to see if we can get something involved with that. But we'll certainly let you know, and I think it's a great idea to come out.
I only just recently found out about the VFW hall, but if I had a little bit more lead time, maybe I could have cleared my
Well, that-
schedule and helped out. So I'm just trying to find a way that you can get the entire town involved in something that is theirs.
build.
Just so you know, you also can't have 50 people in there trying to, it's not that big of a place to have 50 people trying to put sheet rock up.
Right.
So you do have to have manageable numbers on a construction project so that it's being done, you know, in a safe manner. So I hear what you're saying, but when we get to that point, we'll certainly solicit that and make sure that it's put into place.
Okay,
I'll talk to them.
okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Wasn't that clear, 50 to Parkway? Questions. One, I just want to confirm, we are not lifting as part of the renovation? The intent of the project is not to lift and then renovate, it's just to renovate.
At this point, we don't have to lift. We've been in contact with FEMA specialists and flood insurance specialists, and there's flood proofing and other mechanisms that we can put into place because it is considered a commercial building. And we had a great discussion earlier this week that even made us more comfortable with the flood insurance quotes that we got a couple months ago are coming down and down based on the elevations and what we can do to mitigate that out. We may also know, and I'm going to tell the council this later, but since this topic is here, we may be eligible also for some mitigation funding from FEMA. And there again, if those funds come about, they would be at 90%. So we're working to put all these pieces together, and I assure you, when we get to that point, everybody's going to know about it and how they can fit in and make the center, you know, a functioning community facility once again.
And I just heard, and I'm glad to hear that we're definitely getting insurance for this, right?
I
Flood
don't think
insurance.
FEMA's not going to allow us to do so.
Probably be required.
But can I just say something on that? Okay. I know that, people are talking about what we can have flood insurance, just like any homeowner. We cannot have any payments on this building, so we're not required to. And our insurance agent who trusted said that we didn't need to put the red number for it before. It wasn't like somebody forgot.
I really
It wasn't like somebody, you know.
We're in a joint insurance fund. It's a little more complicated than that.
As long as he doesn't get our commission.
Yeah.
We can't self-insure.
But it was not an oversight.
Name that just?
Barbara Henderson, 20 Shrewsbury. I know in past ordinances, if you were getting grant money or funding, you actually wrote it within the ordinance that you were expecting this bond to be offset by future funding. Is there any way you can put that wording in here, either for the Robert Wood Johnson money, or you mentioned flood mitigating 90% possibility?
We don't know the dollar amount that's coming, and I assure you that money, if it comes from FEMA, would have to go to this project. So we wouldn't be at liberty to shift that money somewhere else.
And what about the one that Robert Woods is giving specifically?
The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and in cooperation with the NFL, there's specific parts of the project that they are willing to fund. It's not a general building fund where they're going to allow us to just take the money and put it to where we want. We've been in discussion with them in the proposal phase of what they would choose to fund. So they're pretty specific too as to what they're going to allow that money to go towards.
And based on the article I read, it seemed to be for the community center, is that?
That's the press release they put out. I'm not going to comment on their press release, but we're heavily involved in the negotiations about what the funds can be used for.
Okay, and when will we be informed?
As soon as it's formally announced.
Okay.
What the dollar amount is?
Yeah.
Barry Colby, 44 South Avenue. My question is, the bond will have no penalty for prepayment then, correct?
Right.
I believe that's correct.
Any other questions? Seeing none,
On the final reading and adoption of bond ordinance 0-13-29, bond ordinance providing for approval of the community center in body borough, Ohio, County, New Jersey, appropriating $150,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of $300,000
Are you set on the table or?
I'll motion to table, December fourth.
Okay, I'll second it.
Offered by Mr. King, second by Mayor Nolan. Ms. Lyons?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Franzi? Ms. King, yes, Mayor Nolan. Resolution R 13-224, resolution provisionally appointing our efficient sewer plant operator and approving his agreement. Offered by Ms. King,
Second.
second by Mayor Nolan.
Discussion?
Discussion, please.
Go ahead.
This is the C license, right?
Yes.
This is. He's not the operator necessarily, we're using his license.
And
Right?
he's technically named the operator at this, I mean, that's what he's called. It is for the license, but for DEP purposes, he is listed as our operator.
We have a first and a second, roll call.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Franzi?
Yes.
Ms. King, yes, Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Resolution R 13-238, resolution endorsing the Highlands Long-Term Community Recovery Plan.
All offer?
Offered by Mayor Nolan, second. Second by Ms. King, Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Franzi?
Yes.
Ms. King, yes, Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Resolution R 13-239, resolution amending resolution R 1195, professional engineering services as a non-competitive contract for the Highland Avenue area reconstruction for PM Services.
Okay, no discussion on the table, all offer?
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
Second.
second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Franzi? Ms. King? Yes, Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Resolution R 13-240, this is a resolution authorizing the, declaring planning a lien on this property.
All offer?
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
Second.
second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Franzi? Ms. King? Yes, Mayor Nolan. Resolution R 13-241, this is a resolution for the, municipal land plan for the period of January 1st, 2014 to June 30th, 2014.
All offer?
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Redmond.
I will second.
I got an email from, the Alliance, they're having a meeting asking people who would like to apply, they're having a meeting in, I believe, Middletown, so Wheaton. Is that anything to do with us, or they're doing that for some other entity?
I'm not sure which email you're referring to. I know they do have a program set up tomorrow night in cooperation with OLPH, but that's something different. I'm not sure of the email that you're referring to, Chris.
It comes from the Monmouth County Long-Term Recovery Group, that listserv thing. So I get them, but this one, it just says that. I know we entered an agreement with them, and I'm just wondering if they were offering our money yet. You know what I mean?
Okay, this was the group as a whole, as a whole, and, it wasn't about, was it minutes from the meeting, it was all those.
No, it was about the shrap lands.
Okay, I haven't had it mentioned. I wanted to,
All right, fine. All right, we'll,
I'll go to that later, okay?
Back to roll call.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Franzi?
Yep.
Ms. King? Yes, Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Resolution R 13-242, this is a resolution authorizing advance for expenses for officials within the zones.
All offer?
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Franzi? Ms. King? Yes, Mayor Nolan. And just so you know, there was a typo in there, it said Kevin Conley, it should be Kevin Redmond.
That's okay, Carol.
Use an old one?
Yeah,
January 1st is coming quick.
I know.
Wow.
Resolution R 13-243, resolution authorizing purchase of interstate contract.
All offer?
Offered by Mayor Nolan, second. Second by Ms. King. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Franzi?
Yep.
Ms. King? Yes, Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Yeah, Mayor, I just have a real brief update. We're continuing, of course, with various recovery-related items. We're working with FEMA. I did receive notification today that I think we're getting another $589,000 in project reimbursement related to the debris removal cost. That's under review, and it looks like that check is going to be issued. We were hoping to get another, I think, 300 to 400 in before the end of the year, and it looks like that's going to happen. So that's going to keep Mr. Pfeffer very happy as well. The FEMA Disaster Recovery Coordination Team, of course, folks, were at the long-term recovery public meeting that was held. Their transition or their report will be coming to us in its draft form, I think, very shortly for review by the governing body. The Workforce Development Program, we continue. Workforce Development did give us a call the other day that they've been able to secure the funding to continue the program till at least the end of December. Initially, they were hoping to do the program through the end of January, but as agencies come and go or more people are involved with employment or dropping off, they do reallocate funds whenever necessary. So they did assure us with the reallocation that our program has been strong and in effect, that they're going to give us the additional funds that we requested. From the inspector point, and then I want to just say building maintenance inspector with very low term P, but in the 8 zones that we concentrate on downtown, there were 977 properties that have been reviewed a couple of times. And there again, they're very visual inspections. They're not interior. They don't go into homes. They don't intrude on private property or interfere with the public's right to privacy and things like that. But there's some indications that there's a lot of properties, that do appear to be in use, which is a good sign. We're assuming that those people are living in their homes and doing some things. There are certainly some properties that are noted under a category of properties under repair with actual work being performed. Again, that's a visual based on a drive-by, but there's about 136 properties that were noted, and these are snapshots. What I'm telling you today could change tomorrow, but they're going out a couple of times. They will be doing the 8 zones again. There's about 110 properties that are still, and we'll say, I know you have this question later, this is not an official list that's going to FEMA, but we're working with the FEMA list for the PPDR program. There's about 110 properties that I'll say that are still of concern and have been identified, and we're going to continue to chip away at that in terms of that. So that's pretty much it on the FEMA end. Department of Public Works, I want to remind everyone that brush pickup, not bulk, but brush pickup was completed in October. We will continue in your zones for November and December. DPW folks also assisted with the Sandy Playground project with some site cleanup, equipment needs, and debris removal. They have continued rounds of garbage removal, storm drains, and park maintenance. We are looking at some stormwater runoff issues up on Portland Road and in the vicinity of the hill because that's also impacted. So we are looking at getting some costs to do some maintenance up on some drains in that area. Our DPW guys also met with our Mel Jiff, which is our insurance fund members. Safety coordinator did pay us a visit and rode around with the guys for about a day and looked at their general operations for safety, what have you, and they did get very good reviews, so I'm happy to report that. Under Building and Housing, the construction office for the period of October 1st to 31st received only 12 applications for building applications, but there's a lot of backlog going on in the office too. There were 52 permits issued. Construction fees received were $26,094. Approximate total value of construction is $1.1 million based on the construction values that are reported. Under the details, there were 97 building inspections, 88 electrical inspections, 35 plumbing, and 24 fire inspections conducted. Zoning office, 14 floodplain approvals were issued, 2 substantial damage letters were issued. There were a couple floodplain inquiry letters where people are writing in and requesting information that have been handled. There were 2 substantial damage appeal denial letters that were issued, 18 zoning approvals, and 4 zoning denials that would require further action. Code enforcement had 44 inspections completed, 5 additional summonses were issued for other property maintenance issues that have been noted. I do want to tell the council and the public as well, the new part-time code enforcement person with the property maintenance emphasis will be starting 11/13/13. She did let me know in the interview process that she was going to be away early in November, but she did contact me. She's looking forward to getting started, like I said, with the emphasis on property maintenance. Under the Recreation Department, very quickly, Kids on the Move program is being offered up here in cooperation with the school. We have 27 participants registered. Teen Nights had over 30 participants on the 2 teen night programs that were offered. Halloween costume contest had a little bit of a light turnout, but there were 55 participants on that day. Everyone that did participate, I think, had a good time. We had good weather, so we were happy to be able to put that into play. Men's Basketball League ended October 31st. They had 29 participants total. There is a note here from the Alliance that there is a parent and teen fall fiesta dinner sponsored by the Atlantic Highlands Municipal Alliance and the Highlands Recreation Department in cooperation with the CPC Behavioral Healthcare Community Outreach Program. That's a large term, but everybody got together. The event is tomorrow night at OLPH Gymnasium, and of course in cooperation with OLPH, that program is being offered. The event is free for teenagers and their parents. A dinner is going to be provided. I think Leo's doing a cooking demonstration from Chilango's at that event. It does say you should register in advance. The info was up on the website. It was out there in other areas, but if you want to contact Heather DeBlasi and see if you can squeeze in tomorrow, her number is 908-601-5091. So if anyone's interested, you might want to give Heather a call. Under administration, I did speak with the park system in Atlantic Highlands, and I understand Monmouth County Park System is working in progress to get the trail reopened. They've been working on getting the large debris out of there, and I spoke to Adam Hubie in Atlantic Highlands today, and he said they're going to be working at that, and it looks like they're going to be on target to have that section of the trail reopened by the end of the month. Community Center building, we did mention already, so I'm not going to go over that again. As mentioned a couple times tonight too, the New York, New Jersey Snowflake Youth Foundation Fund, which is really the combination of the Robert Wood Johnson community partnerships. There's a lot of groups involved with that. Have designated us as being a target for the receipt of some funds for projects. Other than that, Mayor, that's pretty much it for tonight.
Actually, I have some news. Yesterday, 8 more parking schools were to my home. People think that we should be open, and I think we should be also, but we're not. As soon as the community center is open, I will be looking for volunteers to once again staff from the library.
Carla, Highlands Business Partnership?
So, marketing and events committee.
application is due December 31st. Also, follow up on the DBIS loan, if we could, maybe follow up and give the commissioner a little push and find out where our check is, that would be really great. Supposedly it's approved, but just sitting on the desk, so, send an email and maybe you guys can follow up on that. For Hope for Highlands, as of October 29th, we distributed approximately $154,000 to residents and $30,000 to businesses in the form of $1,000 reimbursement grants. We are no longer accepting applications, however, we are committed to raising money to process those on the waiting list, which is approximately 20 pending applications that require additional documentation. There's no guarantees that we're going to be able to process them, but we are going to keep trying to fill those so that they're all processed.
So Carla, you don't know even if you had another 20,000, if they would be approving that, correct?
Well, the committee has reached out to them. Some people are missing like payment documents, so they are being contacted for all the information. And as we get a complete application, we'll look for ways to try to, raise money to process.
Can you forward us the email you sent to the commissioner?
Absolutely. Also, for the Robinson grant, I got a report from Sarasoma. As of today, there are 34 eligible applicants. There are 2 completed homes, 3 more in the works that are up to the final sign-off and payment. There's 1 application pending a signature, 1 application pending homeowner review. There are 14 projects that are out to bid and 28 bids outstanding. 3 applicants are pending additional funding availability. In other words, more than they'll be receiving from Rutland. And there have been 2 joint projects completed by a future development, 4 referrals for consideration for a joint project with the future with her. There are 7 approved applications on hold due to REM funding, tear down, or other collaborative venture. Sarah reported a financial update that so far there has been $35,608.40 awarded in
Carla? Shared services. Other business?
Okay, that takes us to skate park.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I just want to bring it to your attention that it was reported from the police department in particular that there's been some issues at the skate park. We are looking to check with Skatewave. That was the organization, not the organization, that was the manufacturer of the equipment, to get quotes on repairing the transition ramp areas. We're looking at that immediately, see if we can get them in, because I can't just go out and go to another competitor and get a product that won't fit that particular product. It is a specialty item, so we're trying to get that done. Also, reporting some minor vandalism down there and the need to relock the park when not in use. So we're going to be taking up on that, and I'm trying to get the quotes in to get the transition plates on those ramps repaired. Lighting?
Lighting down the,
Yeah, that's
the fence,
Oh, no, I see an overall lighting plan.
especially right there. You know what I'm talking about, yeah, the walkway when you go from skate park down into the rec center.
Skateboard.
So you know that little walkway, about 5 feet wide. Even some light in there that is not electrical.
That's all.
Some solar. You want that? Look at some solar. Yes.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, that's it on the skate park. Yeah.
Any other business?
Yes, anyone want to do the planning board appointment?
This is for alternate number 2.
Yes.
I'm going to appoint John J. Colbert for Woodland Hills and Manor.
Except by the office. And then Mr. France, you wanted to speak about the flood grant.
Yes, I had sent out an email to the council talking about status of our existing flood grant. At this point, that $4.6 million shovel-ready project is the number one alternate behind two projects that are ongoing. This is the Irene hazardous mitigation program. It is unlikely that the municipalities, in order for our project to get funded, the way it's sitting right now is one of those two projects has to drop out, has to decline the funds. It's unlikely that that's going to happen, so that we've been working with Stacy Medusa. All right, Masuda. That's the yeah. Been working with Stacy Masuda, the governor's office, and she. At this point, she found where the application sits. At this point, I'm looking for the council to support a motion to a directive, I guess, to try and get our funding to be paid from the Sandy money. At this point, the Sandy project that we have applied for is $145 million from the Raising Highlands. That was the initial request to Sandy.